welcome to this special. I'm Shibani Gharat. Forbes India and Sports 18 present Marketing Playfield. The FIFA World Cup is approaching fast, and while the action on the pitch is always unpredictable, one thing is certain, it will be an event like no other. While we have also seen the game of football gain traction and audience interest in India, and many brands also want to be a part of this playfield. So, what is the kind of brand action that we expect around this event? What works around major events like the World Cup, and what is the outlook for this sport in the country? To discuss this, we are joined in by Deepika Warrior, Chief Marketing Officer Diageo. We also have Sujata Kumar, Head of Marketing India and South Asia for Visa. We have Dilen Gandhi, Regional Marketing Director, Health Reckitt South Asia. We are joined in by Ajay Kakkar, Chief Marketing Officer, Aditya Birla Capital, Shashi Sinha, CEO, IPG Media Brands, and
Anil Jairaj, CEO, Wycom 18 Sports. Listen in.
All of you, welcome to the show. Deepika, let's begin this conversation with you. What is it about an event like the FIFA World Cup that, brings out so many football viewers in the country?
Yeah, so great question. I personally am also looking forward, of course, to end November. FIFA, the FIFA, you talked about it. Football as a sport, is kind of breaking through the dominance of cricket in India. It's growing. India is doing relatively better than it's done in the past. The ISL as a league has become, I think, the third largest league in the world. It's also, showing a growing interest in the sport, and not just in those pockets of the country, like Kerala, West Bengal, Goa, which have traditionally been the football crazy kind of cohorts. However, I think the FIFA World Cup in particular just goes beyond all of that. It's really, it's actually a festival. I mean, it's a festival of the beautiful game. And I think even more so, and at least, we're seeing this as marketers, that, post-COVID, there's almost this heightened sensitivity, of consumers out there wanting to maximize every experience. So FIFA, which was reasonably magical even otherwise, it stood for football fever, with brands stoking it, fans watching out for that anthem release or merchandise, themed activation, going and hanging out, food and beverage, you name it, also growing betting and so on and so forth. And, wanting to be a part of, I think, almost a global community, which is watching the game and, being engaged in the game. And I think, it's going to be heightened to a different degree altogether because of all the pent up, I would say, lack of experiences, during the last couple of years. I think you're going to see viewership like never before. I think you're going to see Indians traveling to Qatar. I think there's going to be activation by the brands who are sponsors. We've seen a couple of Indian brands actually, leading the way in terms of new sponsors. So I think it's going to be a real festival, and you're going to see a lot of football fever, during the period of end November to December.
Yeah, and also it's happening so close home, and in terms of the travel and infrastructure, typically you will have to, if you have to travel for any World Cup, you have to travel across the length and breadth of a country or a region, and here everything is happening in like that 50-kilometer radius, so it's easier also for the fans to go to and enjoy the World Cup. My next question is to you, Sujata. Visa has been a worldwide partner for the FIFA since 2007. Correct me if I'm wrong, as the official payment services partner of the FIFA events around the world. If you can share some data or any kind of insights on what is the kind of increased interest by Indians to, spend, invest, attend, watch the matches live over the past couple of years, what has really changed and transformed?
Thanks, Shivani. Yeah, you're right. Visa, we have been sponsors of the World Cup since 2007. We really believe that football is the one sport that is truly global because almost every country in the world plays football. And an event like the FIFA World Cup happens once in 4 years, and we've seen it's completely an opportunity for global spectators, players across the world to come together with the love for the sport. In India, we've seen a huge growth in interest in sport outside of cricket. And the second one, which is really growing, is football. We saw a growth trend even in the last FIFA, which took place in 2018, but we're expecting a huge leap between that and this year for a couple of reasons. Number one, the interest level in football among consumers have more than tripled in the last since the last season. We've seen growth of interest not only in male spectators, but we've seen a lot of women spectators getting interested. It's actually becoming a wholesome family experience to watch a match together. And as you rightly said, because it's happening in Qatar, which is so near and so helpful in terms of time zones, we're going to see that the matches all take place during the prime time, which is from about 6 till later in the night. So it's the time when the family comes together, watches this together. So we expect to see a huge spurt. We're already seeing a lot of interest from us. The way we activate it is it's not only for our consumers, but as you know, we also have partners with with our issuing banks, with merchants. And what we've seen is there's been a huge interest from people all over to say they'd either like to go and watch the match, they'd like to get tickets, they'd like to get merchandise, as we have very, very exciting merchandise on offer. And also, one thing which is really growing is people want to see it live in a big screen, even when they're here in India. So we'll be looking at ways to activate that. So all in all, yes, almost more than a triple growth in interest since the last time.
Yeah, and if you can also share in some details on what is the kind of activation that we will see in the country by Visa. I believe globally you're running a lot of campaigns in which you're also offering the fans or the Visa card holders a chance to travel and watch the World Cup. So will we see a similar kind of activation? And apart from that, any other activities that will be carried out by the brand in the country?
Actually, a host of activities. So one of the things we do is we do offer packages, and these are all inclusive packages, including airfare from the time you leave, going there, experiencing 2 live matches, everything that comes within that period of time till the time you land back. We're running consumer contests for the same in not only India, but in our South Asia markets as well. Apart from that, we're also offering tickets for people who don't win the contest for the package, and a host of merchandise for other people who are, the not at the top of the league. Apart from that, in the country, we are tying up with a few very big major chains where we will be actually screening the matches live during the quarters, semis, and finals across cities in the country. So people will have a chance to come and watch that. Not only that, we'll create a lot of excitement. We're going to have penalty shootout zones at these venues where people can come and participate, win really exciting merchandise like an actual the FIFA match ball that is used. A replica will be there, and a lot of other things to excite them during the season.
Over to you, Anil. Sports 18 is the official broadcaster for the FIFA World Cup in the country. What is the kind of content that we will see on Sports 18 as in and around the World Cup?
I think just adding on to what both Deepika and Sujata have said, I think the key is, of course, the core fans of football and the World Cup will obviously turn up there, and they will watch large number of games. But you also have casual football fans who considering that there is no other football league that will happen during the time of the World Cup, will also tune in. Most importantly, there's a whole set of viewers in the country who think about this more as an event, a once in 4 years event, and hence come out and want to participate in this whole extravaganza called the Football World Cup. And that's what they'd all turn up for. In terms of content, actually, we've got a very exciting lineup of really international stars who would turn up for giving their points of view, commentating as well as participating with the audiences as a part of our coverage plan. But that is live. But even before, for the next 40 odd days, we are going to have a lot of programming which is focused on exciting the casual fan, as the case might be, giving them tidbits about FIFA, how the tournament has evolved, what have been some of the highlights, and what to look forward to. And all this seems to be lapped up with a lot of interest from all the consumers that we are speaking to, that we are showing the content to.
And what is the kind of interest from the brands around, the FIFA programming, around football programming, Anil?
It is quite exciting. Obviously, it's too early for us to reveal what brands are participating. But suffice to say that it is possibly the biggest World Cup of football by a large margin. And We know that 2018 itself was quite a record year, but 2022 will be bigger significantly, and it is on account of both what happens on the broadcast side, but also what happens on the streaming side. We are seeing significant interest on the streaming side also.
Okay. Over to you, Shashi. Over the past couple of years, how is this entire change in the digital landscape impacting the viewership of sports in the country? And what is it that you see that will, that is probably very enticing about the game of football, according to you?
So, firstly, I won't make it a streaming versus broadcast issue. I think it's seamless because today there is no measurement. And I'm saying it in spite of being part of BAC, that for connected TV homes, I personally feel it's a large audience. But before that, before I answer your question, let me pull back and see. I think to add to what everyone has said, football, because it's the biggest sport globally, and what's happening is that today with the advent of the global leagues and youngsters, especially in the metros, the 8, 10, 12 metros, and the 15 to 25, 15 to 30, that age, sports, football is caught on very big. It's very, very big. So this is an opportunity for those passionate fans to come on board. They will get the ecosystem, as Anil said, their friends and family who normally don't watch football. So it's a great opportunity, and it's seamless viewing. So some of them will watch. I personally believe the top maybe 10, 15 million homes will watch on streaming, but it will be connected TV. That means they'll watch it on their television. Down the line, it will be broadcast, whereas, as Sujata alluded, there'll be a lot of people, watching in fan zones and stuff like that. That should probably be broadcast. And a lot of people on the go will watch streaming. So I think this time in India, you're one of the few uh, games which will be through the line. You'll see both broadcast and streaming being seamless. So I think it's going to be a great experience all through.
Okay. Dilin, what is your outlook towards this particular sport and generally about sporting sponsorships in the country?
Yeah, I think, as everybody's spoken, I'm obviously very excited as a fan of football, personally very excited. And it's what a great year to be a sports fan, right? You have two World Cups back to back in the same year. For me personally, I think as the interest in sports has increased in the country, coupled with the interest in marketing with sports, that we're starting to see a kind of framework emerging. On one end of the spectrum, you really have a lot of brands participating for the eyeball value that big sporting events like the FIFA World Cup bring. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have long-standing partnerships with particular sporting events or sports, which tie in with the core values of the brand. And then there are obviously a lot of opportunities that exist in the middle. And for brands like ours, it obviously offers opportunities at both ends, where you can leverage these sporting events like the FIFA World Cup to drive attention and engagement at scale. But at the same time, there is an opportunity for us to embed our benefits in a context which is very relevant. Right. That I think is the additional advantage that these events bring, and which is what I think will continue to propel the growth of leveraging sports as a marketing tool within the country.
And do we see further any, if you can share some details on any sponsorships in the pipeline by Reckitt Health?
We've started doing a lot around sports. Speaking of football specifically, there is been a commitment with the FA in the UK for Dettol. Closer to home, we've had a long-standing relationship with the Rajasthan Royals franchise of the IPL, again with Dettol. And we have in the different parts of the world, cricket, Australia, for example, with Australia as a long-standing one. What is there in the pipeline, I won't be able to specifically comment, but that's one area that we are increasingly looking at as these list of partnerships already highlight.
Ajay, over to you. Can you help us understand how can leveraging sports and indexing fan base help build loyal consumers?
Shivani, I am seeing this as a beautiful Himalayan mountain of an opportunity, the World Cup every 4 years. But if you ask me the true opportunity, the closer I come to this beautiful mountain, I realize it's an iceberg. I personally may be an exception, but I believe that the World Cup and the FIFA World Cup is something fewer people look up to as against those who can and should look up to. Yes, we talk about football, we talk about the East, we talk about football, we talk about the World Cup and once in 4 years. But if you look at a sport like Kabaddi, which started so late and more in recent times and suddenly has taken up the fancy of an entire country, I think we have to find more local opportunities to make cricket a passion, and I won't even call it a religion, but a daily passion, a daily dose for adrenaline for Indians, as against having to wait once every 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking about cricket, okay, India has been really obsessed with the game of cricket, and do we see that transition or, move from just focus on cricket to other sports, Anil?
The reality, uh, the reality is that cricket is still by far very, 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 very popular. It is unique in terms of how much of dominance cricket has. Having said that, you've got to sort of slice it to see where exactly what's happening with cricket. Clearly, T20 cricket, very, very, very popular in India. But even if you were to go back 4 years and take a look, the sort of viewership numbers that one had for FIFA World Cup was bigger than any test match and bigger than most ODIs that India plays. So in that sense, the transition, I think, which Ajay was alluding to, is already underway. Whether it's kabaddi, whether it's football, there are quite a few of these popular sports now coming up to scale. And this particular event, for all the right reasons, including the fact that it's in Qatar and so close, and unprecedented amount of interest, I think will be quite a tipping point. We think this is possibly going to be the second largest event, seen by Indians, and certainly one of the largest from an audience interest point of view. I don't think it's going to beat India T20 cricket, but everything else is fair game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Over to you, Deepika. This time FIFA World Cup is happening around winter, a period where many brands generally enjoy strong sales based on seasonal festive demand. How can they tweak their strategies to, avoid cannibalization of their existing campaigns around this time?
It's a good question. I think the two can coexist, right? I mean, it's about two different motivations or set of occasions or even cohorts, right? So festivals are I would say, a far wider demographic. They're more familial, they're more inclusive, a very strong regional aspect to them. In this particular case, I mean, a bit like what Anil said, I think unlike cricket, the FIFA World Cup is quite specific in terms of its viewership and its fandom, right? So it is likely to be more post-millennial, millennial. It is likely to have a slightly male skew, even if we're seeing more of young women starting to watch the sport. It does have a more big city skew. I think, there will be viewership again, as everyone has said, across touch points, cross-channel viewership happening. So I think, I also feel the kind of brands, therefore, that would, activate, I guess, both opportunities in peak season, where the consumer is in a mindset to spend, will be different. And I think the opportunity, in particular, if you come back to the FIFA World Cup, is I guess it's going to be all about understanding how this passion point has evolved, not just for that core set of football viewers, but as Anil mentioned, even for the fringe viewers, or I think Shashi said it, who are going to come in most likely just because of this festival of football, and to figure out, how you could get under their skin with the right kind of engagement. And I think it's particularly, so therefore, how do you, and what's going to happen is a lot like the IPL or the Super Bowl in the US, there's going to be occasions that are going to be created around, FIFA World Cup viewership. So how do brands integrate themselves into those occasions, into those moments, micro moments? And I see a lot of food and beverage brands. I'm sure the food delivery brands are all going to kind of, the merch brands, I think Sujata talked about these, are So I think it's going to be two different. So to answer, I think it's going to be two different sets of brands. I think it's going to be two different kinds of cohorts. But again, just going back to what Dilen said, I think it's, we're in for a feast as marketers, with the Cricket World Cup, and then there's the whole festival fervor, and then now the FIFA World Cup. I think consumers are going to have a lot of experiences and entertainment to soak up, and I think the brands are going to benefit.
Yeah, Shashi, over to you. What is the kind of opportunity does the format of this game of football offer for brands to advertise on?
No, obviously, if you compare with cricket, cricket is even T20 is a 3-4 hour game, but this is limited. So obviously, there will be that much less opportunity in terms of advertising. But I want to make a comment, and I think which Ajay and Anil spoke about. While cricket is very big and it's not fair to compare numbers on football, but I alluded to it. We are seeing a trend. If you see the big metros, they're young cohorts, maybe 15 to 25, 15 to 30, maybe boys, who their first game is football, and chances are they don't watch cricket. So today, a lot of brands are into segmenting, saying yes, while it's a big property, but we also need to look at certain segments which cannot be caught otherwise. And so a lot of brands like that. There is no other opportunity today, and these are, if I may use television jargon, heavy, medium, light viewers. These are light viewers of television. So and digital is so fragmented, you don't know how to catch them. So if you want to launch a brand or a variant or something special you want to do, you want large numbers in this, you can see this is a perfect launch pad for that. So I may humbly disagree with Ajay. There is a great opportunity in this format for lots of brands. And we are seeing it in our portfolio of clients. There are lots of people coming on saying, listen, I won't get a TG. I mean, a corporate brand, very large established player in India, an automobile company saying we want to do corporate advertising on this, but these are the young people who talk about sustainability. There can't be a better opportunity than FIFA. So you'll be surprised at the number of people coming in other than the ones that Deepika mentioned, the classical advertisers. I think it's a great opportunity. And is going to have a problem of running out of slots for these people to advertise.
Yeah, on that note, I would like to know Anil's thoughts on this. How are you overcoming, some of, there is, of course, cricket offers a greater opportunity with each six, a four, in between over advertising. How are you working around this whole format of the game of football and overcoming the challenges over there?
Sure. So it's a great question, Shivani, and it's something that advertisers, broadcasters, streamers have been trying to crack in India. Few things. One is that the branding opportunities are still quite immense. So to be associated as a broadcast sponsor, as a streaming sponsor, as whatever tier of sponsorship, still is quite large, and that is very, very comparable to any big event that you have. In addition, all the pre-post events, etc., you can still advertise. And unlike say long breaks in cricket, or for that matter other sort of events, what happens in football is that people are actually very, very passionate about the game, and hence want to follow much before the game starts, during the game, as well as during the mid show and the post show, and that provides a significant opportunity for advertisers to actually connect with the audiences. And one of the things that we are doing is we are going to be presenting this in multiple languages, as in English, Hindi, Tamil, Malayalam, Bengali, etc. So advertisers can choose specific languages in order to target their particular audiences. But quite interestingly, for the audiences, we are also going to, for the first time, provide a 4K feed. And that, I think, is again quite differential, because it will really target what Shashi was describing as affluent millennials, and possibly through connected TVs, etc. And those are the opportunities that exist. And just to come back to Shashi, I think Shashi, that'll be a good problem for both of us to solve. In terms of having plenty. But we are very, very encouraged by what we're seeing, and hopefully, in the next few weeks, we'll sort of announce the slew of sponsors we have.
Good to know. The FIFA World Cup happens once in 4 years, but a lot of these tournaments, like the English Premier League, the UEFA, women's football, like the likes of global stars like Megan Rapinoe, have made women's football as well very, very popular. So, what can be done around these events, which happen beyond the World Cup, that are also contributing to the popularity of the sport in the country? Over to you, Ajay.
I think that what we are going to see at the World Cup is going to be spectacular. What we are going to be seeing is once in a 4-year opportunity. And in between, we have all these other opportunities, the leagues that you're talking about. But I yet want to pull back and say that I think this opportunity is being underexploited in India. India was and has the potential to become once again a football crazy nation. So far I see football as, and the World Cup, etc., as a passion of the niche. So it's attracting niche audiences, niche advertisers, and it will create the excitement with a niche audience. I think an opportunity I want to leave behind with the advertisers, with the channel and the agency represented on this panel is that how can we create the equivalent of an IPL is to cricket or a Kabaddi league is to Kabaddi for football in India? Because when you have your skin in the game, when you have India and Indians play, there is a certain amount of fervor that comes in very naturally, which can then get compounded with world events like the one we're discussing right now. So I think the next step for me is the creation, and an idea I want to leave behind is the creation of an India opportunity to create the fervor, to rally the masses back to football and make that something that then is taken to its heights once in 4 years and once in 2 years.
Yeah, and it is already happening. We have the likes of Sunil Chetri, whose goal score matches the global footballing stars. We have an Indian brand, Byju's, who is like the global sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 2022 happening in Qatar. So how soon do you think, can more brands, more stars, more players emerge out of the country, and what needs to be done according to you, Sujata?
I wanted to add to a couple of points that were being said earlier by Shashi as well as Anil. The excitement of FIFA actually doesn't start on November 15th when the match starts. We're already seeing a lot of excitement before that because it happens once in 4 years, because there are a lot of new people who love the sport now. So you're actually going to see a lot of brands, a lot of programs around the FIFA happening much before the match actually starts. I think that's one big opportunity you will see where a lot of different brands will come and play. Like you said, we have soccer players who have shows of their own. There's going to be a lot of excitement around that. So apart from the match, and we know that because the match has only one half time, there's limited roles that brands can play there. There's going to be a larger focus on the pre, the post, the mid, the analysis, the best kick. All of those are going to be very, very big little spots that come in. It's actually going to see a lot more interest from the consumer because, as we said, there are a lot of new people who are watching, and they will tune in to these segments and these programs to understand more about the game, to know more about what's happening. So I think you're going to see far, far more from just the match. You're going to see this happening from the end of this month, like I said, when the festival gets over, all the way till the end of December. You're going to see a lot of interest in not just the match, but a lot of segments around the same. And there will be a lot of activation on ground. I know that we are planning quite a bit with Visa across different cities. And I'm sure there'll be many, many other brands that are planning to do so, to sort of engage with consumers who are going about their daily lives when they step out, to understand more and get more excited about the fever that will start on November 15th.
Okay. In a similar discussion, one of the panelists pointed out that, the onus is also with the brands to make the sport very popular in the country. Do you agree to that, Dileep?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I totally believe that brands will have a very important role to play. I mean, if I speak from a personal anecdote, during the 2014 World Cup, I was based in a football crazy nation. And you could really feel the passion, and you could get swept away in the passion. And the same thing happened when people from abroad were here during a cricket World Cup, even though they had no inkling about cricket whatsoever. So I think that there is a big role for brands to play in the activation, because as Deepika also talked, this is really a festival, and big festivals drive a lot of engagement uh, through a communal experience. And the more the communal experience this could be, which brands can certainly enable, the greater the power of that particular platform will become in the years to come. So I think that will be a big driver for sure of making the sport popular within the country.
Okay, Shashi, your final thoughts. What is the best way to do it? I believe some of the brands that are already, on board as a global sponsor are planning to activate some of the popular football markets in the country, like Goa, like Kerala, like West Bengal. Many have started with small local campaigns around the festive season. So, what is the best way to do it?
So, firstly, I think while Ajay rightly called it the affluent millennial, but don't underestimate the importance of what's happening the below the layer, what's happening to this audience in the metros, and a lot of brands have latched on to this, and you will see the excitement around it. So, to Deepika's word, which I think everyone latched on to, it's a festival, and there'll be joy and fun around it. So I think there'll be a lot happen. I know for a lot of my clients doing what they're doing. I mean, can you imagine Amul sponsoring the various teams? You could never have dreamt of it 5 years back, 4 years back. And obviously there'll be a lot of stuff which will be across. So it will not be restricted to the markets which you spoke about. To the larger point of how can football grow, it will grow. It's a global sport. It's the biggest sport in the world. It's a matter of time whether ISL does a great job or doesn't do a great job. The international clubs are already here. All the clubs are here. So they may take a backseat during FIFA, but they'll be activated. You will see this growing. So I am absolutely gung ho that the sport will take over. In the short run, there'll be a lot of brands will do around FIFA there, but overall, there's very good signs for football.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us for this discussion.